Hello, this is Chris Reddick from Chris Reddick Financial Planning. In this short video, I'm going to talk about I bonds. Okay, I bonds. So I stands for inflation. So inflation bonds. Okay, what do we know about I bonds? Right, so right now we know inflation is at its historical high levels. Since about 40 years ago, hasn't been this high. So it's around over 8% around June 2022. So the inflation is really hot right now. So what is inflation? Inflation is the increase in the price level. So goods that you buy at the grocery store, gas and all that, when they rise a lot, that means inflation has increased. All right, so I bonds are a great hedge against inflation. Okay, so I bonds have two components. They have the regular bond, and then they have an inflation adjustment, based on the consumer price index. So both of those together, because inflation is high, create a higher interest rate. Okay, so I bonds are unique in that you purchase them directly from the from the federal government, from the Treasury Department, at a website called treasurydirect.gov. All right, and you can purchase up to 10,000 each calendar year. So 10,000 each calendar year, each taxpayer. So if you're married, you can do 10,000, and your spouse can do 10,000. Okay, you must hold the I bond for 1 year, right? So unlike a CD, you could technically break a CD, pay a penalty. An I bond, you must hold it for 1 year. So that's one of the catches, I suppose, of an I bond. They're not liquid after 1 year. And then you lose 3 months of interest payments if held less than 5 years, which is a small penalty, but you lose 3 months of interest if it's less than 5 years. So consider that the limit of 10,000 plus it's not liquid in 1 year. So what's unique about I bonds compared to many other fixed income or bond types of funds is that you can have it where you don't get a 1099, so you don't have to report it on taxes until you actually redeem the I bonds, right? So it can be a very tax efficient way of saving an emergency fund or saving up for some sort of goal in the future. Okay, I bonds don't lose their value, right? So it protects your principal. They're backed by the full faith and credit of the US government, which is the strongest protection out there. So the current interest rate of I bonds is 9.62%, right? It went up from 7.2% March 2022. And the time of this recording in late May, it's up to 9.62%. All right. So if you think about that, the S&P has returned 10.5% since the 1950s. And what's the S&P? It's the 500 largest cap-weighted stocks in the U.S. So it's comparable to that, but it does change with inflation. So it's not a fixed rate. As I mentioned, the catch of the I bonds is that you can only purchase 10,000 each unique taxpayer ID. In addition, the Treasury Direct website is pretty dated, right? And it can be difficult to navigate. And then, like typing in a password in kind of unusual fashion, you'll find out if you sign up. So that can be a distraction. So you can't buy it from any broker. You must go directly to the Treasury Direct website, and you cannot purchase more than 10,000. If you do, then they'll send the remaining back in the form of a check, and it could take weeks before you get the money back. So make sure you know the limit on what you can purchase every year. Right? So I think I bonds are an excellent way to build an emergency fund. So we, as financial planners, we recommend at least 6 months of living expenses in the bank in case of emergency, such as an unforeseen job. So I bonds can provide that, but keep in mind it's not liquid for 1 year. So if you have an emergency within that first year, it can be difficult. There's not many investments where you don't lose a principal plus a reasonable rate of return. So 9.62 is a pretty good rate of return compared to other types of investments such as annuities that have high commissions and fees and so forth. So I think I bonds provide a fresh and interesting alternative for the DIYers who are looking out for some way to store away money in a tax efficient way. Hope you enjoyed this video. Reach out in the contact page below, and if I can be of help and how to figure out how I bonds fits in with your portfolio, let me know. Have a great day.